Hi everybody, how's it going today? Thanks for watching another video. I'm in our heifer barn here. Just wanted to look at these heifers here quick. I'm working on a manure pump. We'll go over there in a second, but got a manure pump that's froze up in the heifer barn. I got the heater down on it. Just waiting for it to thaw out a little bit before I go check the valves again. See, it's about 4 or 5 days after we had those 2 days of negative 55-degree temps. As you can see, quite a bit of ice built up on the water troughs. Still pretty frosty in the barn here. Got some frost on the ceiling. It's Friday here today. Last night was it got down to I don't know, -5 or so. Tonight's supposed to get just below freezing, or just below 0 again Fahrenheit, and then it's going to warm up. Sunday and all through next week it's highs in the low 30s, so things will start on thawing again next week here by the looks of it. But for whatever reason, the intake of the piston pump is froze up, which is surprising because it didn't give us any troubles. I mean, the valves were a little sticky here through the weekend and the last few days throughout the week, but not froze up to where we couldn't get it going easily. But now got the valves loose, but still not suctioning. The outlet is open, the inlet is not. So it's either it's froze up or it's plugged up or both. So I'm gonna go check that out here in a second. Just thought I'd walk through the barn here quick. Nasario just finished cleaning in here. Manure's still a little slushy, a little frozen, so we've been dumping some in the pit that's not too frozen, and some dumping outside. Kind of making that call as we're going, I guess. Kind of far off dry cows here. We'll go check on that pump here. Got through these cold temperatures fairly good, I would say. Had an issue with a door a couple nights ago. Carlos called me at 9:30 or so. Door was not working, but it just tripped the board or for some reason. Reset the breaker. We didn't have to go up to the opener at all. Reset the breaker, turn the breaker on and off, and started right back up like it should. A few other maybe small things. An injector go bad on a tractor, but that's not cold related. Mechanic came and got that taken care of yesterday, but we had swapped tractors so we could continue feeding. So we've got our 942 on the feed wagon at the moment. We'll have to switch that back here. We'll probably do that in the next couple days. No huge rush on that. I don't need the 942 for anything, but maybe tomorrow or Sunday we'll work on that. Cows handled it pretty good. Calves handled it good. Didn't have any real cold related issues with the cows and calves. So from that point of view, we're in pretty good shape. By the pumps here now, we actually had this. The pipe on this pump was froze up here 2 days ago. We stuck a water hose down in there, got that cleaned out, and it's been fine. It's running at the moment. But now this piston pump down here is froze up. We'll jump down there quick and grab the wrench. Of course the heater's not staying on. We're gonna get this going first. Kind of loud down here, so I'll try to speak loud, but I turned this heater on here about 30 minutes ago, and I stayed down here for 5 minutes to make sure it keep running, and it did that whole 5 minutes. And of course now it was off when we got here, so got it going again. So there's 2 valves down there. One opens when it's suctioning up, and that closes, and then the other side opens when it's pumping out. They just flip back and forth. They're manual valves that just open and close by the movement of the piston. And I know that line back there is open, that line is open, that valve is open. This valve moves, but we got somewhere in here, it's either frozen or blocked. And more than likely it's right where the valve is, which is down here. Had it before in the past. I don't think we had this problem last year. I don't remember having the problem last year, but for sure 2 years ago we had the occasional issues with it freezing up down there. You can grab a wrench, put a wrench on here. The valve is loose. So is this one. I'm gonna go up and turn it on once and see what it does. Frozen. Essentially very simple design. That piston just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And as it's doing that, those valves are opening and closing. But you can see that piston, when it goes down that quick, it's because it's suction. It's got a vacuum on it. So it's not filling up as it's going up, so the inlet is plugged or frozen. Probably let it go up and down a couple more times, but we'll have to let that heater run a little longer. I'm assuming it's yeah, probably frozen right by that valve, so we'll give it another 15 minutes. I got some more manure to move here. We'll just check in on it, make sure that heater's running, because it's not gone on off, the heater's not running. It's taken quite a while here, but starting to make some progress. The pump is starting to fill up a little bit when it's going upwards. It's not froze down by the valve, it looks like it's froze somewhere in that pipe. Or maybe both were froze. Might have pointed at the valve to start. There's about a 1 foot section of rubber hose, and I could see it was collapsing that hose when it was sucking full. That was telling me that it was froze further towards the pit. Got the heater pointed that way. I was able to move the valve up and down, which I couldn't do before. Probably what's happened is that inlet pipe, it just was slowly getting frozen inside that pipe and getting us smaller, smaller, smaller and smaller until it was froze solid. It was the same thing with this other pump over here. It just starts to build up a little bit all the time, and then every time you shut it off, it just adds a little bit of manure to it until it's completely froze solid. So I'll probably leave that heater on there a little while yet, even once we get it open and going all the way, just to make sure we can get that pipe completely free of ice, so we don't have this same thing tomorrow morning. We're going to give it a couple more minutes. So right now what we're doing is we're just circulating in and out of the pit. I've got that far valve open. Probably let it go a few more times and then close that valve so we can start pumping this pit empty to our sand manure separation room. Sun's starting to come out here. That's the south side of the barn. We'll probably open that curtain up a little bit here just before lunch. Fugio and Nasario are going to put straw in these pens here this morning. Sun's out. It's going to be a nice day in our sand separation building here now. So this pipe is where that manure comes in from the heifer barn, so it goes underneath 2 barns. We added this in 3 years ago now, I guess. Drilled that pipe underneath the barn, comes in into this pit. As you can see, manure's coming into the pit here. So we've got it opened up. Good sign. So it's gonna, usually we run that pump for like 2-ish hours or so in the morning to get that pit empty. But we'll have to run it here over lunchtime to get it empty here today. And then later today we'll pump a little bit of manure back over there. Like I explained in the last video, because the manure is frozen in the heifer barn, we're not putting as much manure in that pit, but we still want to make sure we're running those pumps, pumping manure through there so that we don't end up with even bigger problems than we had today, because if we let that stuff freeze solid over there, it'll be froze solid until the end of April probably. We want to make sure we keep things moving. So from here it goes together with the cow manure and then gets pumped into either one of these pipes here and goes to our manure storage. It's the next morning here in the barn behind the parlor. Got a cable broke on this side here, broke last night. I'm gonna try to get that repaired here this morning. As you can see, still quite a bit of frost on there. It was pretty cold last night, get -10 it showed this morning. My dad just coming with the telehandler. When we have to lift it up a touch, try to get it straightened back out a little. I do have extra sets of cables. Usually this either goes really easy or it's doesn't go easy at all. There's never any in between, seems like. So we'll start working on this. I'm hoping to just use the ladder so we don't have to lift the door up all the way to get in here with a piece of equipment. This is the only barn that we only have access to from one side. So these cows have not been fed this morning yet. So they're hungry and waiting for us to get this door fixed. I can't see the screen here. Got something wrong with the camera. It's set too cold, and every time I try to record, my screen goes blank. So I'm not sure what you guys are seeing here exactly, but we got the left side put on, and I figured what was going to happen was we were going to have to replace both right away, because the cables were not exactly the same as the old ones. So did that, and it still looks like the door's hanging a little crooked, so we got to make an adjustment up there. Sam's going to get a couple wrenches, payloader in the bucket. We should be able to lift it up like this, but we do want to straighten it out before we start using it. I'll walk into the barn a little bit here. It's a little bit warmer when you get into the barn. Actually, probably my own fault, because my dad told me 2 days ago that this door was hanging a little bit crooked. Should have taken care of it then, but didn't, so here we are now. The cables were rusty, so they were likely going to break at some point. Just yeah, got it taken care of here. Hopefully we'll get it straightened back out, and then these cows, the bunks are completely empty. They're waiting for feed. They're not bellowing yet, but there's quite a few standing at the gate here, wondering where their breakfast is this morning. We'll probably run that door up by hand here just this first time, just to make sure we don't catch it on something and then rip a cable again, because I'm not sure if I'll have to look if I see if I can if I've got another set of cables. Otherwise we'll have to order a couple sets. Good chance this is not going to be the last one here this winter. We did the one right beside it here, the smaller one, last winter, I remember. Actually, probably maybe the only one we did last winter was this small one. Usually we have overhead door go through these doors in the fall, and I always tell them if cables look bad, if they're rusty, they're starting to get frayed, just replace them. I'd rather replace them when it's 70 degrees out than -10 like it is here this morning. But didn't go too bad here, actually. This is about as good as it goes when we fix these doors. need to go back up and adjust that center connector still. That looks like what happened was the key was a little loose in that keyway there, and that allowed it to move enough to have that door kind of hang a little bit sideways. I got the key back tight, but I wanted to get these cows fed. The load was done, so we opened the door up. Once these cows are fed, we'll go back up and get the door hanging exactly straight, because once I got that key good and tight, it was still hanging at a little bit of an angle. There's 3 bolts up there where you can adjust that coupler to get each side hanging the same. So we'll do that here once these cows get feed, and then we've got to reset the limits on that door because we've got different lengths cables. So now it's sitting, I don't know if it's going to sit higher or lower. It doesn't matter. We have to adjust it so that it stops when it's at the bottom and it stops when it's open all the way. Cows are ready for feed. We'll call that good. We probably could have adjusted it down maybe a touch more, but it might, as we're running it, it might come down a little. It's always kind of tough to get that set exactly where we want it. The first time I set it, it was too low. And you raise it up just a touch and then it's too high. So we'll leave it here for now. We can always come back and adjust it if we need to. Cows are happy by the looks of it. Hungry and eating. It's south wind today. Supposed to start warming up today. By Monday, 30 degrees, and I actually saw there's a 40 degree here as a high next week, so warmer temperatures are coming. I think we'll probably end the video here. I don't have any other things I need to fix here immediately, or not that I've been told anyways. Probably swap tractors here this afternoon, get our 930 back on the feed wagon. If you have questions, comments, post them down below, and appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one.